Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and this is one of the other computers that my aunt gave me about a month or two ago. And this is the most modern of the bunch that she gave me, and quite obviously the largest of the bunch. This is the Dell XPS 720, manufactured in January of 2008. This was my aunt's main daily driver computer from January of 2008 up until August of 2011 when she upgraded to her current computer. And this served her quite well. This thing was a beast when it was purchased in 2008. This was pretty much the best of the best as far as hardware and software was concerned in 2008. And even to this day, it still has a little bit of a kick to it in a way. Specs: it has a 2.4 gigahertz Core 2 Quad Q6600. Originally had 4 gigs of RAM, now has 6 gigs. A little bit more on the RAM later, because there's a little issue with that. What else? It originally had a 750 gig hard drive, but my aunt kept that hard drive for security reasons. Currently has a 250 gig hard drive in it, as well as a 500 gig hard drive for storage, both of which I added. And a NVIDIA GeForce 8800 GT video card, which was enormous in 2008. Pretty much top of the line, if I'm not mistaken. And it has probably a few other doodads that we'll cover as the video goes on. And this computer, size-wise, is enormous. This is why the camera is kind of at an odd angle right now, because there's really not a good way to get the entire computer all in one shot, because it's that big. So, let's take a little tour of the front of the system. Up top, we have a horrible glare from the light above the workbench. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. It's just the way this room is designed. But, okay, that's better. I just picked up the tripod then. Right here we have a DVD-ROM drive. Below that, a DVD-RW drive. And we got a bunch more empty slots for 5 1/4. Surprisingly, there's no card reader here. I have one that I can add. I just haven't gotten around to it while it's up here on the workbench. Perhaps I could do it right now. Down here we got microphone, headphone, 2 USB 2.0 ports, a FireWire port, and of course a power button. And it does have really cool LED lights on the front and back, which I'll show off when we turn the computer on in a little bit. Turn around. This thing, not surprisingly, weighs a ton. Okay, up here we got the power supply. I forget the size of the power supply, but it is quite big. Down here on the I/O we have onboard sound right here, which is blocked out because it's using the an expansion card sound card, which I will go over in a little bit. PS2 mouse and keyboard. I believe that's coax audio out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 USB 2.0 ports, gigabit Ethernet, another FireWire port, and in the expansion slots we have the 8800 GT video card and a Creative Soundblaster X-Fi gold sound card, which was really nice for the time. Okay, so oh, and there's a service tag if you're curious. Let's flip it around and take a look at the inside. Man, this thing is huge. There's my reflection there. Hello. And it has a latch right here. Just like other Dells of the time, this does use an LTX layout. There we go. Yeah, this thing, I feel like I'm not worthy of this thing. Yeah, this thing is just ridiculous, in a good way, of course. Anyway, up here we got the two hard drives I have in here. We got a 250 gig Seagate and a 500 gig Western Digital Green for data storage. This one up here is holding the two OSs I'm running on here. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned this or not, this computer originally shipped with Windows XP Media Center 2005, because at the time Dell was offering computers with your choice of Vista or XP, and because Vista at the time wasn't really all that loved by people, including myself. I hated Vista back then. My aunt went with Windows XP. Currently this computer is running a dual boot of XP and Windows 7. Got an enormous fan and heat sink for the CPU. And we got a red motherboard. You know your computer means business when your motherboard is red. And down here is the 8800 GT. Now how big is that power supply? I forgot. 750 watts. Yeah, that's a pretty big power supply. It's the biggest one I've ever had. And yeah, that's about all there is to see on the inside. We've got enormous heat sinks on the North Bridge and South Bridge. So yeah, I guess one thing I want to mention, there's the RAM. It's got 6 gigs in it. It originally had 4 gigs. Now, what I'm wanting to do with this computer is run it at its maximum supported 8 gigabytes. It uses DDR2 memory. But for some reason, whenever I put in the last 2 gig DDR2 module into this system, the computer will refuse to post. I'll just get a memory error when I turn it on, and I do not know why. I don't know if it's memory speed related. I just don't get it. I remember I had a Dell Optiplex 755 of a similar vintage, and it had a very similar problem. Now I was at one time able to get 8 gigs going in here, and it was just the luck of the draw that it worked that time. But the problem with that was, even though I got the 8 gigs going, Windows, no matter what version of Windows I would use, in fact I think even Linux had this problem, it would take forever to load the operating system. It would just sit there for several minutes. Eventually it would get there, but it just took forever to boot. And I was using an SSD in this computer at the time, and even with the SSD, it was just unbearably slow to boot an operating system. But when I took the 2 gig module out of here and put it down to 6 gigs, booting an operating system wound up being a lot quicker. So I do not know what the deal is with that. If anyone has any idea of what could be happening, please let me know, because I would love to get 8 gigs going in this computer. It uses 6400 speed DDR2 memory, which is what I'm using in here, so I don't know what the problem is. So anyway, let's go ahead and hook it back up in its regular home and take a look at the software end of things. Oh, and the card reader has been successfully installed, so let's give it a try. Okay, got it set up in its regular home, right below my main computer there. It's sharing a monitor with my main computer. I forget which one. using the VGA input. Also having to use this little Apple keyboard. I need to either get a KVM switch to use these two together on one setup, or just get a second keyboard tray to put under here so I can have a more comfortable place to use a keyboard for this computer, because that gets kind of annoying. And for sound right now, I'm only able to use this Bluetooth speaker connected to this auxiliary input. I don't know why it makes the Windows 7 startup sound when you turn it on, but anyway, let's take a look at what happens when you turn it on. Prepare your eardrums, headphone users, because these fans get loud when you turn it on. Okay. I don't know what monitor it's on. Okay, I wanted to go into the BIOS, but I didn't get the monitor going in time, so we'll have to just deal with this. First of all, let me turn the lights off so you can see how the LEDs look. It gets pretty bright. And you can set custom colors for this as well, which is really cool. You can do that through either the BIOS or a program in Windows. And it has lights on the back, although you can't really see that as well. So, let me set the tripod up in a better position and we can take a look at the software on here. Okay, I got it in the BIOS now. It's using the latest BIOS revision from April 1st, 2008. I guess my aunt must have upgraded it at some point. This computer never really got too many BIOS updates, I don't believe. This was the only one. Okay, processor, as I mentioned earlier, Core 2 Quad Q6600, clocked at 2.4 gigahertz. 6 gigs of memory. Unfortunately, it's only running in single channel mode because I'm unable to use that 4th DIMM slot with 8 gigs of RAM. And by the way, before you suggest trying a different DIMM slot, I've already tried that. No matter what slot I put it in, it just doesn't like having 8 gigs for some reason, even though it's supposed to support it. Boot sequence, our drives here. It does support a floppy drive. Don't have one in it right now. I don't know if I'll put one in or not. There's our 250 gig hard drive. There's our DVD-ROM, DVD-RW, and our 500 gig drive. There's a lot of SATA ports, and it does have an IDE channel as well. There's the LED control, where you can set what colors you want for the LED. You can also set the intensity. I've got it up as high as it'll go. And again, you can also change these settings within Windows through Dell Quickset. And you can actually overclock this system, believe it or not. There's our service tag. Event log. Okay, let's boot into our OS. We'll start off with Windows XP for now, which is what originally came with this computer. Used to, that was a lot slower when I had 8 gigs. It's ironic that it's faster with less memory. really don't have much variety with wallpaper, do I? Okay, why isn't the mouse working, I wonder? And we don't have internet either. Well, that's not surprising because the Ethernet cable doesn't have a clip on it anymore, so the slightest movement will disconnect it. And mouse is working now. Let me reach back behind the computer and plug the Ethernet back in. Okay, got network going on here again. Let's go into our system properties. This is Media Center Edition version 2014, meaning that I'm running the unofficial service pack 4 for Windows XP. If you don't know what that is, I highly recommend installing it on your own XP system. Brings the operating system up to date quite a bit. And of course 32-bit OS, so it's only seeing 3 out of the 6 gigs that I got in the system. And there's our NVIDIA GeForce 8800 GT, great card for the time. In 2008, my main computer that I was using the most, which was a Dell Vostro 1500 laptop. It had the best video card I ever had at the time. I forget the exact model, but it was a NVIDIA card. It wasn't a Quadro, but it was a GeForce of some type, a mobile GeForce. And it did pretty well. I never had any issues with it. But obviously it wasn't anywhere near as good as this 8800 GT from the same time frame. Broadcom gigabit controller for Ethernet. So 4 cores there. Oh, and this uses a NVIDIA Enforce chipset. And our creative Soundblaster X5 sound card, which was a really good card back in the day. And our chipset and USB goodies there. Do a DX diag, because why not? No, don't do that. Okay, XP Professional, which is what Media Center is based off of. Using DirectX 9. Probably could be upgraded if you ask me. And the RAM on the video card is 512 megs. So, very good card back in the day. Yeah, that's a little loud if you ask me. Okay, really don't have too many games on here right now. Yes, I know I'm not good at benchmarking stuff. I should be showing off how good this video card is, and I will someday on this channel, but not right now. Yes, basically your basic XP install. We can do a CPU-Z of the system. Wants to update. I don't feel like doing that right now. But there's our CPU-Z. It's a Core 2 Quad Q6600 Kentsfield code name. Uses a Enforce 680i chipset. There's our 6 gigs of memory. Again, I really want 8 gigs in here. I should have 8 gigs in here. And for some reason it's not showing the GPU. So, anyway, here's something that'll bring back some memories. And I thought I already had it set up. Well, that brings back memories of my Inspiron 6000. Oh yeah, good old XP Media Center. I guess Media Center is pretty much non-existent anymore. In fact, I know it is. You can't get it on Windows 10 natively anymore. But back in the day, it was the thing to have. Remember using it on XP, Vista, and 7. Okay, let's play a game. Again, I don't have anything to really show off the power of this video card, but I do have one game that we can try out, and I need to find it. Okay, we're going to play a little bit of Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 Gold. One of my favorite 2000 era games. So let's go ahead and fire her up. I haven't actually played this before on this computer, so hopefully it'll work. All I've done so far is install it. Okay, that's a good sign. Gotta love unskippable loading screens. Sorry, we're using an NVIDIA card tonight. Ah! Okay. Can we get going today, I wonder? This game, for some reason, is not happy when you use it as an ISO image. Okay, let's see if we can set some video settings. Seems like we can't go to 1920 by 1080, which is what this monitor's running at, so that's too bad. That's as good as we're gonna get it. How did I click the wrong button? Okay, let's just leave it there and not do anything else. Now we'll just do sandbox mode. Okay. Let's start building some rides. Starting with a good old-fashioned rollio coaster. Let's pick out a good one here. Okay, that'll do. Let's see, can we turn it around? There we go. This, as much as I like this version of Rollercoaster Tycoon, Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 and 2 are still my favorites. Mainly because this game is not all that easy to play when it comes to controls. So, and yes, I know I do need to give Planet Coaster a try on my modern machine at some point. Get one of these. Okay, now let's build an exit. Go. Let's open her up. And let's build some facilities. Build ourselves a urine receptacle. And a nice little information booth, because why not? People need information these days, even if it's not good information, unfortunately. And is there any fruit? Yeah, you see, the thing about games from the 2000s, not really a fan of them. And I will tell you why. I just started losing interest in computer games big time starting around the mid-2000s, because that's kind of when you started to see first-person shooters become the biggest thing ever. And I've just never been a fan of FPS games. And even to this day, that's about all you see. And yeah, I know I'm kind of a weirdo, not liking that kind of stuff, but it's just... games these days just don't really intrigue me as much as the older ones do. So that's why on computers like these you don't really see me playing a whole lot of heavy-duty games. Most of what I've always been interested in for games from the 2000s and upward are simulation games like SimCity, Rollercoaster Tycoon like you're seeing here, stuff like that. Okay, build a chair swing. Saw something like this the other day at the Dixie Classic Fair. Sounds like someone just saw my ex-girlfriend. That was insensitive of me, I apologize. Wait, I think I did that wrong. Okay, that's better. And let's build us a junior ride. Build ourselves a nice old-fashioned carousel. Let's see, do we have any carousel music on here? We'll see what that is. Oh, that was weird. Alright, one more roller coaster. Let's find ourselves a good one. Ooh, that looks interesting. Why did it have to turn night? I didn't ask you to do that. Let's just try it right here. Okay. By the way, I would never ride something like this in real life. I'd have to be really, really crazy to do that. Maybe if you offered me some money. And I mean a lot of money. Okay. Nice little park so far, I must say. Of course, if I was playing this game a little bit longer and not on camera, I would probably do a little bit more landscaping. Alright, let's open this thing up. Okay, enough of that. Let's head back into Windows. Alright, there we go. And normally I don't do a Canyon test or any kind of MIDI test on a computer running an operating system this new, but this has a really unique sound card, and I want to show off how it sounds with MIDI. Alright, here we go. Canyon test. Oh, jeez, why do we have to... I just want to hear the Canyon song, man! What's wrong? What do you have against the Canyon? I just want the Canyon. Alright, that was a very nice sounding rendition of Canyon. Sounds a lot nicer than the built-in Microsoft wavetable you usually get in Windows XP. So, I guess next thing we should do is check out Windows 7. Okay, we're booting into Windows 7 now. You know, I gotta say, even to this day, Windows 7 is still a good operating system to me. Windows 10 is nice, but Windows 7, it's always there for you and always gets the job done well. It's like the new XP, in a way. I must have done some updates last time I had this running. This would be faster with an SSD. In fact, I had an SSD in this computer for a short time when I first got it a couple months ago, but I needed to put the SSD back in another computer because I was needing it there. Okay, we're finally getting somewhere. It had apparently a major Windows update that was installed last time I was running it, so it had to finalize that. So that's why it's taken a little bit longer than usual to get Windows 7 up and running on here. Okay, I had to put my password in. We should be there someday. Again, it would be faster with an SSD. I probably will be putting an SSD in this computer someday when I have access to another one, that is. Hard drive that it's booting off of isn't the worst thing in the world, but it could be faster. Okay, here we are, Windows 7. Apparently when I unhooked this computer earlier, oh, I see what it's doing. It's installing the stuff for the card reader I put in here a while ago. So, take a look. This, still got my Rollercoaster Tycoon CD in the drive. Got our 2 partitions on the drive here, and our data drive. You know, I would really prefer if you didn't run slow tonight, because I'm doing a video. I don't have as much on here as I do on the XP partition because I have more games over there. But I do have a little bit more modern-ish software on here, obviously, since this is Windows 7. Oh, one thing I wanted to show a while ago, this is Dell QuickSet. Normally on a laptop this would handle all your power management stuff, but on here this controls the LEDs on the front and back of the computer. So I want to show off how that works. You can control them with these bars here. And in fact you can actually have effects and have it do certain effects for certain games, which is kind of interesting. Okay, got the camera positioned. I'm going to change the color on the lower front panel and keep an eye on that. See, I'm just moving the control bar up and down. I can set this to pink. Keep that at blue. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but the rear LED is set to red now. I don't think that can be seen right now. But I can change the upper front panel to green and set that to diamond, which is the furthest setting there. And we can change the intensity. That's the lowest, and this is the highest, which is where I usually keep the controls at. There we go, that's where I usually keep it. And we can set different effects. This is strobe light. And this is smooth color rotation. Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff here. I've never had a computer that can do this before. And this is called zone rotation. Not really seeing it do anything, to be honest. Oh, okay, that didn't do anything. And breathing lights. So it kind of looks like it's breathing in a way, I guess. So, but I usually keep it at just no effects. And let me put it back where I usually have it. I just have it all blue. So yeah, there you have it. Pretty cool setup there with the LEDs, I must say. So yeah, there you have it. That's the Dell XPS 720 from 2008. Pretty much the best computer you probably could have gotten from Dell in the first half of 2008. Upgrades I'd like to do with this machine. I potentially want to put a Q9550 in here if the chipset will support it. Obviously I want to get it up to 8 gigs of RAM if it will let me. Again, if you have any suggestions on how to accomplish that, please let me know so I can make that a reality. And I would like to put an SSD in here at some point to give it a nice speed boost. And again, I did have an SSD in here at one point, but it was being bogged down by the 8 gigs of memory that kept the system from booting at a appropriate speed. See, it's pretty ironic having to remove memory to get the computer to boot quicker. So, yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that, but anyway, I guess that'll do it for this video. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon if you would like. The link to all of these are down below. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.